Thank you very much for joining us today in this very first edition of the new HbbTV webinar series. This will be spread across the rest of this year and next year, and we are looking forward to seeing you on lots of other occasions. In this very first edition, we've got 268 people registered for this webinar, so thanks again for your tremendous interest. And we have also found a great presenter for the very first edition, with Klaus Merkel, Senior Engineer at German Broadcast Technology Research Institute, IRT. He's going to give you an overview over HbbTV, its basics, and a couple of reference applications to show you all about you need to know about HbbTV, the open standard. You can post your questions, and you're very welcome to do so through the chat window that you can see in the corner. Just type in the questions you have, and then we will have a look at them and select the most interesting questions for Klaus at the end of this seminar. This will be a 1-hour session, first with the presentation, then the Q&A. And as I said, first, this is a series, and so this is just the very first edition. There's lots more to come, and I'm going to give you an update on the further webinars towards the end of this session and a few dates. Klaus is joining us from Munich. Before I switch over to him, let me tell you first that the presentation and, of course, the views are representing the views of Klaus Merkel and IRT and not necessarily of the HbbTV Association. Thank you very much. And now over to you, Klaus, for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jörn, for your introduction. And welcome to all of you to this first webinar on HbbTV. I'm going to share my screen now, waiting for the invitation to do so. Yes, so here we are. So you should see my screen now, right, Jörg?
Yes.
And I have to switch here. Okay, so welcome again. So the topic is HbbTV, and as its name suggests, HbbTV is dealing with the TV. So the TV set is still something very interesting in the households, big attractive screen in many living rooms, TV that has been broadcasting for decades, but now with the arrival of internet, of course, it is very obvious that these attractive TV screen can become much more attractive by additional services brought via web to the screen, serving much more niche needs, individual needs, bringing much more content on this attractive screen. And there are quite a number of OTT services which started on PCs, on mobiles, but which have meanwhile its most significant growth on the TV screen. So the TV screen, when connected to web services, definitely has significant added values, and TV manufacturers have been very early in discovering this and have brought smart TVs to the market, and there are many web services, as you can see here from the manufacturer portals. However, TVs are not PCs, and it's not easy possible for both technical and commercial and also conceptual reasons to consume web services just simply on the TV screen. So TVs call for dedicated web and browser profiles, for dedicated redoing of services. And this is what you can see here indicated in the manufacturers' portals. So many apps, many services, but which are really redone for TV consumption. Not only the manufacturers, but meanwhile also a number of big US players are aiming to be present on this attractive screen. And you see here some prominent examples of this. They are doing so either via external devices by sticks or set-top boxes connected via HDMI or are doing so via Android TV. And all of this is bringing lots of added value, lots of added web content to the benefit of the consumer. Still, all these approaches, so the manufacturer's portal and the sticks and boxes and also Android TV, leave two issues open. So there is much more fragmentation than we are used to see it in other domains of the web market. So the different approaches have their different technological concepts and profiles. And so the services usually have to be adopted for each of these platforms individually. So this is the first issue with this with these smart TV platforms, the relatively significant fragmentation compared to other web devices. Another point is there is no, or at least no qualified integration of broadcast and web services. So on devices like that, you have linear broadcast services and you have also web services. But as such, these platforms do not allow to create really hybrid world to combine broadcast and broadband assets. And exactly these are the 2 points addressed by HbbTV. So these are the unique selling points of HbbTV. HbbTV is an acronym for Hybrid Broadcast Broadband TV. And this is HbbTV the answer to both of these issues. So first of all, HbbTV defines a standardized TV browser profile. So a technological profile, technological profile that can be applied across all sorts of TV sets, all brands. So a real standard for web on TV. And the other aspect beyond the pure standardization is that it provides lots of cross-linking options between broadcast and broadband. So it really allows to integrate broadcast and broadband to a combined user experience. And the shortest way to indicate how this looks in praxis is then with this sketch done by Swiss Television. So one click from broadcast to broadband, what you're seeing here in the background on this TV. So the background image is broadcast, and then clicking the red button brings additional web menus on your screen, web menus done by the broadcasters, guiding you into many more contents than provided via internet. So this is HbbTV at its very shortest. HbbTV is implemented, so HBB, the standards behind that are implemented and developed by the HbbTV Association. So the HbbTV Association is the common point where many market participants, so you see all the logos indicated, where many market participants meet to make this possible. The HbbTV Association is 10 years old now, and it really has members out of CE manufacturers, broadcasters, platform operators, technology companies. So there is a good distribution over various parts of the market, and this is very good to have a mass market acceptance of the resulting standards. The core tasks of this association is to develop the specifications, which are then implemented on devices and in applications, and to provide additional resources to support testing and addressing interoperability issues. But the core thing is really the standards, and this graphics indicates you the HbbTV internal development process for specification and test resources. So within the HbbTV Association, we have a good number of working groups as indicated here, and you see the different steps which are taken to discuss and agree on requirements for new standards, writing the specification, and then caring finally for tests and for interoperability. So this is what's happening within the association. The end result, or the most relevant end result, is specifications. There are a number of specifications, and with this graphics, I will guide you through this webinar showing all the developments in this area. So HbbTV is publishing its specifications via ETSI, so the European Telecommunication Standards Institute, which is the most relevant standardization bodies in digital television. So 10 years ago, the first version of HbbTV has been published. 2 years later, an updated version, HbbTV 1.5, with its main point of adding MPEG- adaptive streaming. And those early versions of the standard have been really the starting point for the big HbbTV success in the market. I can show you here a sketch showing the sale of HbbTV devices in Germany since 2010, and you see around 2011, 12, HbbTV arrived really very well in the market, and since then we see some 4 million HbbTV sets sold in Germany each year. So practically all smart TVs sold are HbbTV, and all the sales have accumulated up to some, over 30 at least million devices in Germany. We have roughly 37 million households, so we have roughly as many device sales as we have households in Germany. And this leads to approximately 12 to 15 million connected HbbTV devices in Germany. So not every TV, even if it's a smart TV, is connected. So smart TV is so much of a standard that people just, even if they just want to buy a simple TV and use it for broadcast, they usually take a smart TV into their homes. This is an interesting study by Tieravold. Again, the reference is the German market. And here you see in practice the effect of having HbbTV as a standard for TV platforms supporting smart TVs. So the whole area is really apps on TVs. And you see there are many different systems and variants. So you find Apple TV here, the Chromecast stick, Fire TV. But you see that very clearly HbbTV is the one with the highest market reach. And I should mention that sometimes, of course, it's combined. HbbTV and certainly Android TV can happen on the same device, and the same for Tyson and others as well. So this would accumulate up to more than 100%. But the effect of the standard is in any case that the total reach of HbbTV is by far the largest. And this is the technical reach for the different platforms, but this is also reflected. I don't have numbers here which are public or which I can make public, but this is reflected also in actual usage. So it's not only the technical reach where HbbTV has a lead in this comparison of systems, but it's also the actual usage. Another market I want to mention shortly, because I talked so much about Germany now, is Italy. Italy is a relative, compared to Germany, Italy is a relative newcomer in the HbbTV area. It has a little bit less households in total, but already more than 3 million connected devices, which is quite good for such a relatively early phase of deploying HbbTV. They have immediately started using the HbbTV 2 standard I will mention later. What you see here is a screenshot of the HbbTV website listing deployments. So please check out if you are more interested about deployments in other countries. And there are other countries deploying HbbTV. So it's practically all of Europe using HbbTV. It's, as you can see here, Turkey, it's Russia, but it's also really other parts of the world, like Australia or even New Zealand, which have decided to adopt HbbTV. So far for the standard itself and its deployment on devices and market reach, and of course a very interesting point, a very key point, is of course content. And as you can imagine, video is the main relevant type of content to be brought to the TV via HbbTV. And there are many video portals via HbbTV. You can see here screenshots of the video portals of the 4 big broadcasting groups in Germany: ARD, ZDF, RTL, Pro7, Sat1. All of them do their individual HbbTV applications. They can do so they have their own look and feel, their own way of presenting content, giving access to plenty, really, of video content. So video portals, the big thing in HbbTV. This is, of course, not only true for Germany, but this is the basic feature, the basic content feature for very markets. And I have here examples from Norway, from Turkey, from Greece, and from Australia. And I could have added one screenshot for every country that is using HbbTV, and also many more. Broadcasters are using individually, and these are the screenshots you have seen. So this is individual use of HbbTV for broadcaster individual video portals. What you're seeing here is another way of doing, so another concept of doing video portals. This is having joint video portals for a number of broadcasters. And the example you can see here is Livestreams in Spain. This is a national platform bundling video offerings across broadcasters. You see their GUI here, and it's operational in Spain. Still in its testing phase, there is something very similar in France, which is called Salto. And you can see here also France Télévisions, TF1, and M6 as the broadcasters joining here for a joint HbbTV portal, which they can give immediate access to their viewers with just one click on the red button. So for sure, on the TV, free TV content plays a big role, and free TV means usually funding by ads. So if it's not public broadcasting, then free TV content is funded by ads in many markets. It's still very dominating in many markets. And so HbbTV can do also its job, not only to provide video content, but also to provide additional options for the very fundamental ad funding model for free TV. And I'm starting here with an example from Turkey. So you see the TV picture here. So this is the broadcast picture. And as I said, HbbTV allows to seamlessly integrate broadcast broadband experience. So when, for example, switching to a channel, you can scale, the broadcaster can, with his HbbTV application, can scale the TV picture and put some ad banner around it for a number of seconds. And if during this number of seconds the user presses the red button, as you can see it indicated here, then microsite is started of that company doing the ad here. The broadcast can either be canceled at all or it can be made smaller, as you see, and then the ad messages can be placed here. There can be videos, there can be more interaction, people can be asked to register themselves for products and so on. So there is really very good options in HbbTV to further develop the classical ad model for free TV. You can go beyond such a first simple step, and there are a number of approaches we have seen in Germany, and I give you some examples from the 7.1 Media Group, which is very active here in Germany. So one way of further exploiting the HbbTV toolbox is to do an individual branding, so an individual regional, local targeting. So if you can use the IP address to detect the zip code, you can, for example, insert into your car ad HbbTV banner the individual address of a single car vendor. And you can go further and offer a test drive for the interested customer. So you can do regional and local targeting. You can do, for example, behavioral targeting. So like for Parship in this example here, if you know there is a female single household, you are showing a guy here. If you're detecting it's a male single household, so a very obvious example, then you are showing a lady here. You can do some targeting of HbbTV ad banners also related to TV spots, which have already been seen. So to re-emphasize the message by bringing exactly those ads here as a banner, which have before been seen in the linear broadcast. And as an ultimate step, HbbTV can even address the very fundamental business model of free TV. So the ad within the TV program, so the ad break and the HbbTV toolbox allows to substitute the broadcast ad break by an individually targeted advertising spot, which is transmitted via IP then, depending on the targeting. And you can automatically switch from the linear program to an individually targeted IP spot and then back again. And as you can see here, this has operationally launched almost 1 year ago. So while this can be done, so I'm going to come back on this, while this can be done today, there are certain weaknesses, certain timing issues in switching from here to there. So there is no very good timing performance. So you may have some buffering times and you have some time when switching back. So you can do it and they are doing it, but the visual performance is not at its optimum. And as I said, I will come back to this later. Of course, HbbTV can do more than only video portals plus advertising. There is a number of additional use cases for HbbTV. I'm going to introduce some of them to you, and all of these are actually in operation. So they are not showcases or ideas, but all of this is in operation. Today, a very simple one is improving the teletext service, which is still very popular in many countries, Germany being one of them. So HbbTV can do a nicer GUI for teletext, and this is done. Then we have home shopping offering. Of course, you can directly enter your customer ID into GUIs on the TV screen. So here you can click the red button, get into the web GUI of Home Shopping Europe, can enter your customer ID and can directly do shopping. And it's very evident that this is of some benefit for both the user and also the provider of such a service. A very interesting thing is also gaming. You wouldn't think that gaming would be so popular on TVs, but according to reports from companies doing that, it is quite popular and quite well used. And you see here an example where RTL has featured. So again, you see here the broadcast and really the very nice way how HbbTV allows to feature stuff. So when you're switching to RTL, you get for a few seconds only this overlay saying press red, and then you can participate in these games. And if you do so, you are in a gaming portal, but you can still watch RTL here. So I think this is a very good, so you are not completely lost. So if you want to switch back to RTL, you are not lost in your gaming world, but you can keep one eye on the TV program and can switch back at any time. I think this is a very good example of really another good example of the integration between broadcast and broadband. So the teaser here, and then the broadcast image here, which can be scaled by the HbbTV application. So there are APIs in the HbbTV specification allowing the HbbTV application, for example, to let this disappear after some seconds and then to scale the broadcast here. Another example, also an interesting one, is provision of UHD content via HbbTV. When we began to standardize HbbTV some 10 years ago, we didn't think of video streaming could have really better quality than broadcast. Today we are further here this road, and we detect that really HbbTV can be a very relevant way of distributing UHD to customers. And already a few years ago, broadcasters have started to use this feature at a number of occasions. Then live streams, we can bring additional live streaming on the TV. Also, this is something which has not been in our focus for HbbTV at the very beginning. So we can have a richer content offering, of course. If we, for events like the Olympic Games, we can provide additional categories of sports as additional live stream. It's very lightweight for the user. He doesn't have to install apps or do complicated things. Just click the red button, go into a menu, select the sports category he likes, and then the live stream immediately starts. Something more recent on live streaming is the replay function, which has been implemented by all the ARD programs just a couple of months ago. This has technically a specific feature, so it's based on MPEG live streaming as well, like the earlier mentioned Olympic live streams. But the very specific feature is that the user can jump back in this live stream to a specific position to the beginning of the relevant content item. So this is also something rather new in the open retail market. It's known on IPTV or other platforms for a couple of years, but it's new for the mass retail market, that just by clicking on the blue button, you can jump back to the beginning of the corresponding show, and it's very well accepted by the users in Germany. Also based on live streaming, so not technically something different, but conceptually, and I would like to mention that is improving accessibility by using HbbTV. Here you can see, and this is used by ARD, has been used very much during the Corona crisis, is to offer the main news and additional information also with a signer. And here you can see the broadcast in the background, still the broadcast picture, and the HbbTV menu here is the menu point offering the signer. And if you activate this, you get then an IP stream with a broadcast video in the background and the signer in the foreground. And finally, we sorry, we shouldn't forget the children. TV set is something parents like to place their children. They don't like it so much in sometimes to hand out their tablets or mobiles or notebooks to children, but usually placing children in front of the TV is something fine. And as one example, I have here also an example from Germany, from the WDR Mouse, a very popular program, and it's a video portal with almost 2,000 videos. So you can see here a good potential for entertaining children via HbbTV as well. So far, for a number of usage variants of HbbTV, mainly as it is today, as it is dominating the market, and this is using the features at least of 1.0 and 1.5. Now we are for HbbTV 1.2 already a number of years ago. We have published, HbbTV has published the first version of this specification. A quick look to it shows that it's structured in the same way as HbbTV 1. So this is only to give you an impression of the latest HbbTV version. It has more than 300 pages and it specifies many normative elements on those over 300 pages, but it also makes reference to a good number of other standards from DVB, so the broadcast related standard, ISO standards, the web standards, of course, CI plus standards from the Open IPTV forum. So there are many other specs reused by the HbbTV concept in general. I can't go into the details here, but at least I wanted to give you a rough impression of what the content really of the HbbTV specification is. So it's linking to many other standards to the benefit of the industry, of course, because many of these features are implemented else. So of course the browsers and the video encoding and transmission and things and the signaling are implemented for other market segments as well, so can be then easily reused for HbbTV2. So HbbTV2 in a more general view, HbbTV 2 brings added value, added features in a number of different domains. So on the right-hand side, we see more the technological updates to HbbTV 1. So we see the HTML5 browser profile. We see a number of new technical elements being part of that HTML5 browser profile, so making the browser more state of the art, and also to add new video features, which are most of them also state of the art in other parts of the markets, like HEVC for UHD or adaptive streaming. So this is more modernizing the whole platform. On the left-hand side, we see real new features like the synchronization of video, audio, apps, and second screen integration. And for this set of features on the left-hand side, we at IRT have explored the capabilities of these, and this is what I'm going to show you now. So give you an impression about the capabilities of the specific capabilities of HbbTV 2 by a number of showcases, proof of concepts we at IRT made. So one is the option of launching HbbTV applications via mobile phone. So a mobile and a native app, it can be iOS, it can be Android. A native app can detect that there is an HbbTV TV set in the same home network, and HbbTV provides then APIs and options to launch applications on these TV sets. So we can really launch, trigger the start of HbbTV applications of the TV set. And subsequently, we can communicate between both apps. So we can establish a communication. So what you're seeing here is the phase where the HbbTV app is just started, showing a starting screen. So only 2 seconds later, this HbbTV application would play the video I have triggered from the tablet here. So I've been in the ARD Android Mediathek app, selected a video, and then said or clicked on play on the TV screen. Then the Android TV app would launch the HbbTV application and tell the application which video to play. And you can also do control the video, so you can jump forwards and backwards and pause and resume and so on. So also a feature which is as such not completely new. You know this from Chromecast or Fire TV or other platforms, but this is something really available now in the big retail market without any specific apps or platform or system. So it's just really a feature that is available for use. Another feature is the synchronization feature, and HbbTV 2 allows to play IP audios in sync with the broadcast video. There are two variants how you can do this. One variant is to play the additional audio on the speakers of your TV set, and this is what I'm showing here with this screen. This can be used, for example, to provide additional language versions. So you find here some, I think it's 8 different language versions which are offered to this TV show. So more than you usefully could include in broadcast for the most broadcasters. You can have additional audio versions, not only with different languages, but also, for example, with improved dialogue intelligibility. So that's a really complicated word, I'm sorry. Which is a problem for many TV users today, that the dialogues are not well understandable, and you can have dedicated audio tracks for such users. You can also think about clean audio feeds to provide to the TV screen. Another variant of playing an IP audio in sync with the broadcast video is doing so on mobile devices. So as you have seen, we can couple mobile devices to TV sets and to HbbTV applications running on these TV sets. And this allows to provide additional audios for individual usage. So this is the clue here, that you can have, for example, the standard broadcast audio on the TV screen, and you can provide an audio description only to the very person needing this. He can consume this via headphones then, or can provide additional language versions to people who need additional language versions, and again, they can consume this via headphones. And you can do this in parallel, so you can have 10 different people with 10 smartphones sitting on the couch, and each of them hearing its individual audio. So this can be done at multiple instances, multiple times for the same TV set. So finally, this is certainly nothing for the mass market, in contrary to the other ones. So the other ones are really something mature for and very well suited for the mass market. This is still not. This is just to show the potential. This is using an AR glass. We have been using the Microsoft HoloLens, so you still see this somehow here. So this photo has been taken through the Microsoft HoloLens, and you see the TV screen. This is a real TV, and here we have a virtual signer, which can only be seen by the one wearing the AR glass. So also some accessibility feature for individual usage. HbbTV 2 can also be used for a different user journey than pushing something from the mobile to the TV screen. This is vice versa, pushing something from the TV screen onto a mobile. So if you have, this is our example here, a cooking show, then you can have an HbbTV overlay on HbbTV2 devices, for example. You can check this in your application, see, it's HbbTV2. Then you make an overlay like this. Have you got appetite? And did you like what you have seen here, what has been cooked? And then press OK, and then you get the recipe on your mobile phone, and you can later on come back to it. And we have implemented a specific application for this. We call this Universal Launcher, and it allows you to both immediately react on such a post from the TV screen, immediately react and interact with the TV screen. So push videos back to the TV or interact somehow with the TV, but also come back to this later on and just save the links on your mobile. I think all of these showcases, and maybe even more than what I mentioned, can be seen and read about in our IRT lab. Here you see a number of URLs, and there you will find in our lab more information about these use cases. So this about HbbTV as such, so to give you some impression what HbbTV2 really is. So in the years from 2016 onwards, so since the publication of the very first version of HbbTV2, HbbTV has worked on improving the core specification of HbbTV, and this is still ongoing. So the latest HbbTV standards version published currently is HbbTV 202, the version 1.5, and here I'm indicating a number of features which have been added since then. So there are no really groundbreaking things like for HbbTV2, but I'm giving you here a number of examples. These are only examples of the features which have been added since then. And if you're interested, you can just come back later to this. I won't read out all the technical stuff now, because I want to, before we are finished, I want to make the overview complete. As HbbTV, as you have seen, is not only working on its core specification by adding more features, doing improvements on the core specification, which is still HbbTV 2. So the next version, by the way, the next version we are planning is HbbTV 203, which is not yet published, which is still on its way. And but also 203 won't have any groundbreaking news. So it's really a continuous evolution to keep the core specification up to date. But beyond the core specification, and this is what you're seeing here, is independent HbbTV specifications. They're called independent because they are not directly depending on a specific HbbTV 2 version. Some of them can even be implemented on top of HbbTV 1. Others are designed to be implemented on the top of HbbTV 2. And as you can see here, the HbbTV Association has produced up to now 5 of these specifications, which are already available at ETSI. Those 3, or basically one is an update of the other. Oh, sorry, I see. I have to correct this. There is a mistyping here. So those 3 specifications: application discovery over broadband and HbbTV in IPTV networks, are designed to allow the application of HbbTV in use scenarios where HbbTV doesn't work today. This is when broadcast doesn't carry application signaling. There are reasons why this happens in the market, or there is an operator box in between the broadcast network and the HbbTV TV set, or linear television is distributed via managed IPTV or OTT. So there are a number of market segments leaving the real fully featured traditional broadcast, or being not fully supported in the broadcast. And these specifications depicted here are designed to make HbbTV applicable also in these domains of the market. And we have 1 or 2, I think, even dedicated webinars planned on these topics. So I won't go further in for now and give more details about the application discovery over broadband or the IPTV networks, because if you're interested, you can come back to this in the context of later webinars. The same is true for the operator apps. Also, the operator apps is something very interesting. So it allows platform operators to replace set-top boxes by specific apps working on retail TV sets. So a very significant potential also for the market, and to really bring benefit to TV manufacturers, bring benefit to operators, bring benefit to broadcasters, and also bringing benefits to the end users. So this is really an offer for a very significant win-win-win-win situation. And this is also something where a dedicated webinar is planned. So I won't go further into the details, as I won't do for the targeted advertising. I have mentioned before that you can replace the broadcast by IP video today, but there are some timing and performance issues around this. And this is exactly what's addressed by the HbbTV targeted advertising specification. So it's a 2-part specification, the first of which defines technical tools to allow an improved switching performance between the broadcast video and the IP videos. So exactly filling the technical gap we have today. And the second part of that specification defines the exact tolerances for the switching behavior. So really delivers the figures that a broadcaster needs to evaluate exactly the tolerance schema he has available to guarantee a very pleasant visual flow on the TV set while switching from broadcast to broadband. And also on this, for this topic, we have an webinar on our agenda. Finally, my very last slide, HbbTV. So this is a quotation. HbbTV is critical in modernizing broadcast business model. I like this. This is from the summary from Paul Gray, from presentation from IHS Market, from our HbbTV symposium last year. So we won't be able to do a symposium this year, hopefully next year again. And he was summing up his findings and came to that conclusion, which I very much agree on, of course. And I think, and I hope you have seen in this webinar that HbbTV really provides a very, very rich set of tools around smart TVs, around broadcasting, around linear television, allowing to modernize the broadcast business model and bring many new content ideas and also commercializing ideas into the whole business. So, and with this quotation, which I, as I said, very much agree with, I would like to close now, and I would like to thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Klaus, for this presentation. And we have received a couple of interesting questions and that I'd like to share with you. I don't know whether we'll have time for all of them, but I'll quickly show them to you. Let me just share my screen. So, can the organizer share my screen, please, so that we can quickly go through the available questions. Right, so this will only take a second. I'll need to get the moderator status again, and then you can share my screen. There you go. So, as you can see, this is the first webinar, so we're still trying to somehow get used to the technology. There are now the questions that you have submitted, and I would like to have a look at the very first one because this refers to the different standards. So now, Klaus, you can see that yourself. There's a question regarding older TV sets and the newer versions, and how to reverse and how to make 2.0 TV sets use the new features.
Yes, so I think there are two questions behind this. So one is really how to manage to, say, have a migration between 1.5, 1 and 2, and you can have a common code base, so you have different variants as a broadcaster, how you can do it. So you can have an auto start application which detects whether it's an HbbTV 1 or 2 device, and then either offers new applications for the new devices and offers the old version for the older devices. But if you are asking for the single code base, then yes, you can also offer applications in a way that that all the basic code of your, say, catch-up TV service is HbbTV 1 compatible. But if you have specific features, for example, you can push something, you can play, you have a catch-up TV, which a service which is HbbTV 1.0, then you could, for example, offer the 2.0 feature of playing an additional audio in the catch-up TV section, additional audio on a mobile phone, so something which is definitely HbbTV 2, just by asking the device version and then offering or launching the specific features and the specific code only on the 2.0 device set. Maybe the bigger problem is really to manage old devices in terms of processing power and memory consumptions. So, and this is really maybe the more relevant message, that even if you I would say the dealing with HbbTV 2.0 is the easier part, and the more fundamental and more complex part is really to keep your code clean and slim enough, even if it's only 1.0, that it will run on older devices. So there is an unfortunate trend in application development, even if it's only for 1.0 or 1.5, to use frameworks producing lots of code or consuming lots of memory or using features which are not part of HbbTV 1. So this can be the bigger problem in managing the old devices, is taking into account their limited memory. So not the HbbTV version itself, but the limited processing power and memory.
This is very general feedback you're giving there, and also a message to the manufacturers. Thank you. The second question refers to big amounts of HbbTV data content to be transferred using the broadcast channel, obviously, but that's to non-internet connected users. So obviously, the question surrounds the capability of the broadcast stream to deliver large volumes of data.
Yes, so there is two answers. You can use the DSMCC data carousel for some basic applications like teletext or maybe an EPG application. But if you are asking for big data, you probably think about video. And there we have the push VOD option. So there's a dedicated protocol, file delivery protocol for delivering big video content to local storage on HbbTV terminals. But this is nothing I think has ever really been implemented and deployed. So from the standardization side, HbbTV can do great things and great interesting VOD stores even without any internet connectivity. But in terms of actual deployment or actual usage, this is very low or even zero.
I think yes, and that's a general thing that you need to know, because it's the basics seminar on HbbTV, that HbbTV is not a standard that's been published and now it's there and it won't be changed. It continues to be developed, adopted to the needs of broadcasters, manufacturers and operators. That's why there are constantly new versions released, and to make sure that they're always suiting the needs of the market. I mean, the engineers can only develop things and then see what happens. So it's an ongoing process, I think, and I think you will agree to that. Now, the ARD Mediathek, the ARD catch-up service from German public broadcaster ARD, is now addressed in the third question. When you use the mobile to interact with the broadcast signal, do you have to be tuned to ARD's broadcast channel, or can you watch something else?
No. So you can watch something else. You can be, say, on the ZDF or even RTL channel, and then the application is launched. Then you lose any earlier broadcast picture. So you can't launch anything on top of, say, RTL broadcast video. So you are completely disconnected from broadcast if you're doing that launch. And then after terminating the HbbTV application, then the latest broadcast will be back.
Okay. Now, two questions for home shopping usage. How is the payment made within home shopping app use of HbbTV? Can the user insert the credentials and then the credit card data is directly sent to the HbbTV app, or how is that performed? The payment, is there payment additional solution available for home shopping usage?
Not directly for the example I have showed you. So this is just entering your customer ID, and then they just rely on the customer ID being correct in this case. But we have seen cases where there was an integration with PayPal, for example. Of course, you can also ask the user to enter his credit card data. So this is really how you do it. So this is nothing. So HbbTV has not foreseen any explicit payment component also. So HbbTV just provides the basic web toolbox in this respect, and then you can ask people to enter codes, or you can do some verification with another device and so on. So you can think of various methods how payment actually is done. So there is no specific method for HbbTV. And as I indicated, you can do a PayPal integration or ask for credit card numbers or whatsoever.
This is open to the creativity of the app developers on the commercial side of the business. As we've mentioned before, I think HbbTV is an open standard, so it means that everyone can use it freely. It's not tied to a manufacturer. It's cross-device. That's one of the benefits. And if you want to add on certain apps and solutions, you're free to do so, obviously. And the HbbTV Association in itself is a non-profit organization, and that's one of the foundations of these open specifications. Now, the next question is a bit reflecting the earlier question regarding home shopping, whether there's a solution for a payment app. I think we've already given feedback that there's no specific solution for that available, but of course developers are free to create one. Can we say that?
Yes, the same as said before. So first, yes. So it is possible to include the smartphone in this transaction. So as you have seen before, you can push something. So you can directly push the offering. You can directly launch a corresponding shopping app on your smartphone, and via deep linking directly link to the related product. So this is a very obvious way you can do it. So HbbTV certainly provides all the tools which are necessary to do this, but it doesn't provide an explicit pay TV solution. But it easily, I think in this case, HbbTV easily allows to integrate such a, or make use of any existing solution in the market.
Yeah, we know, for example, of video on demand services running on HbbTV that are obviously commercial solutions. Now, the last question refers to SCT35 messaging. Does HbbTV make use of this?
Yes, it's foreseen to include SCT35 into the overall targeted advertising framework. So it's not planned to do it directly on the HbbTV client, but it can be play a role as standard on the contribution side. So in the B2B interfaces, SCT35 is one of the relevant interfaces to do the signaling.
Very good.
So it's part of the overall. It's part of the overall concept. Yes.
It's part of the overall concept. Good question to round up this presentation. Thank you very much for taking the time, Klaus, to present the basics and reference examples of HbbTV applications in this very first webinar. Thank you also for your great interest. We've had lots of participants, lots of feedback in the Q&A session. As you can see from this slide, the next webinar is already scheduled. It will take place on July 14th between 1400 and 1500 Central European Summer Time. It will focus on the HbbTV op app, which we've mentioned already. Some might remember this is all about how to turn your TV set into a virtual set-top box, amongst other great things. And this will be a best practice report by senior executives of HD+, the German DTH TV platform, who have been the first commercial users of the HbbTV op app, and they're going to give us feedback on their experiences. Further webinars, as you can see, there's one planned for the middle of each month. We'll focus on HbbTV testing and certification in September. In October, application discovery of a broadband ADB phase 2. We've heard about that in the presentation earlier on. Mid-November will be again the HbbTV op app, but this time focusing on a specification update that will be released around that time. Mid-December to be announced, and then next year the dates aren't scheduled yet, but we certainly know some of the topics. One will be a best practice report by operators, possibly again focusing on the HbbTV op app, but from a different country and by different operators. Then there will be the targeted advertising specification for addressable TV. We've heard about that in the presentation. Very interesting to hear about the first commercial applications. And then Klaus Merkel has kindly offered us to do another webinar, this time on HbbTV beyond traditional broadcast TV. What we've seen in the presentation was very much focused on the traditional classic TV world, but we've seen other little things that have popped up, for example, gaming, and there was lots more solutions, lots more things you can do with HbbTV that aren't directly connected to a broadcast TV stream. This will be towards the end of the current series. But this is not all. You are all invited to submit your ideas and your thoughts about possible webinar topics. If you like to be a co-host, if you like to submit ideas and thoughts, things you want to know more about, please do so by sending us an email to webinar@hbbtv.org. webinar@hbbtv.org. This is the email address you have also received in the confirmation email after registering for this webinar. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us today for this opening session. I think it's been a great presentation, and it shows you what HbbTV is all about, and it also shows you the kind of webinar series that we want to offer you. And you're all invited to join us Tuesday, July 14th, between 1400 and 1500 Central European Summer Time for the HBB Op App Best Practice Report by HD+. And if you want to register for that, registrations are open. Please do have a look at our HbbTV.org events calendar on the website, and there you will find the link to register for this webinar, just like you've done for today's webinar. Thank you very much again for joining us. Thanks, Klaus, for the great presentation. Have a nice day, and all the best to you. See you next time.